So we are, this is a woven sounds project, and we are with Maryam on vocal. Tohid Vahid on kamancha and setar. Joss Turnbull on percussion and effects. And Şirin Pancaroğlu on harp. Thank you.
Mahdi, can we have a bit of the lights so we can see the audience, please? We can't see you. Hello. May I invite Mahdi to say a few things about, a few words about the concept of the project first?
Sure. So if you ask me to say, okay. So woven sounds, I was telling this last night when we had the screening of the film. It's part of, it's a continuation of a few projects that I have. It's my research, academic research, that led into a documentary film. And then together with a friend, a suggestion of a friend, a curator, he asked me to put this project together, this artistic project. And at first it was very unknown to me, this territory of combining all these directions. But then I started daily thinking about it, contemplating, and slowly the ways showed themselves to me. And then I was thinking about which musicians should I have, and I contacted each of the musicians. I talked very long with each one of them during a period of time, and everyone helped shaping this project with their inputs, and we managed to put it together in Germany, in Morgenland Festival, and since then we are having it around the world. And it's inspired by my research of going to village and my filming. What you watched was parts of my filming, I was going to Iran for 5 years and going to research the singing cultures around carpet weaving, and carpet weaving itself is vanishing in Iran, yet alone the singing cultures. So this is a whole different dimensions of this project.
Yeah. Do you always work interculturally? Do you always have a lineup of musicians from different cultures?
In Root Survival, we have different projects, so this is one of the projects. And yes, we have musicians usually from different backgrounds working on a specific theme. So we had Root Survival Anatolia, Root Survival Afghanistan. We had Root Survival Italy recently, Root Survival Czech Republic, and I hope we have Root Survival Hong Kong at some point.
So, and you have also played to an audience around the world. So how do the receptions differ from each other? For example, today, should we get more lights on the audience?
Yes.
同事唔該，可唔可以俾多少少世界光？我哋睇唔到觀眾啊，唔該晒。
That would be
So,
great. I can say a few short
Yes,
things, and
please.
then maybe they can also say. The first performance we had, we were so overwhelmed with the feedback and the reactions of the audience, and then we were lucky to have some also Iranians. We Iranians, as I told you, we are so connected to our carpets, Persian carpets. I think the Turks as well, they are very connected to Turkish carpets and maybe Persian carpets. So when we are born, I was telling her yesterday, this is the first thing I think most of Iranians, at least myself, we remember. The patterns of the carpet, because we crawl on the carpet. So this is the first memory we have in life. So I think for a lot of people, this emotion, the people behind it, and the life that these weavers have, and such a harsh life they have, and all these dimensions made it, I think, a lot of people associate and get the emotions and the message of this project. Yeah.
May I turn the attention to Şirin? Şirin is amazing because visually the echo between the loom and the harp is really so beautiful. So how do you feel as because you're not Iranian? So when you were working on this project and bringing a new instrument into this setup, how did you feel about that?
Well, well, the harp always looked like a loom to me. And actually, I was once again, not in an artistic project of this depth, but I was called to play in activities where weaving was involved in Turkey. So I think that people are sensitive to the resemblance of the harp being a loom, like a loom. And well, I find a lot of beauty in I can watch a loom forever, and I can watch the fingers on a loom forever also, because it's just this handcraft, things we make with our hands. I think it is the biggest sign of our intelligence, what we make with our hands. So just watching weavers, it resonates in me in a different level, because I also work with my hands all my life. And I feel like a weaver of some sorts, in a way, because it's also very painstaking to be a musician. Yeah. And but of course, I think that eventually we're a little bit better rewarded, quite a bit better rewarded. I have a lot of affinity for the fate of these women, and also weaving. Just like in Iran, in Turkey, it's also disappearing at a speed that one couldn't have imagined. Every little town had their pattern, and then nowadays no more weaving, regional weaving. So we have 6-7 regions in Turkey, so we have only regional weaving happening. So it's very, very sad, actually. And you're very right about also one of our earliest memories going back to carpets. When we have kids, we put them on the carpet, and we also believe that it makes them intelligent, because they can only get their heads up and then watch what's in front of them, and they play with their fingers over these patterns, and they're of great, how do you say? It's developmental, actually.
Thank you. Yeah, it's absolutely beautiful. Joss, when did you start playing Central Asian and Middle Eastern percussions?
Well, I started when I was 15. My father is a percussionist as well, and he got interested in Middle Eastern drums when I was around 15. So I just followed him and picked up a frame drum and a rig. Both of them I played in this concert. And a bit later on, when I was around 19, I discovered the Iranian tombak, which now is my main instrument.
Yeah, but I love the way you play the daf. You're so subtle on the daf. Tohid, can I ask you about the way you play the instrument? How much of it, for example, this evening, is improvisation?
Can you repeat the question?
How much of his playing this evening is improvisation?
یه بخشایی از کار، حدود 30% از کار بداهه بود که همون 30% هم به نوعی تحت پروژه بود، یعنی ولی خب جزئیات در لحظه با شنیدن اشعار و گاهی دیدن تصویر پشت سرم تغییر میکرد، ولی حدود 70%.
So around 30% is improvisation and 70% is what we agreed, but this 30% is very much inspired by what's happening on stage, by the poetry, by the spontaneous things that happen on stage, and the energy that we receive from the audience.
Right, it's beautiful. And Maryam, it was beautiful. Your singing was so beautiful. But apart from being a singer, you're also a visual artist. Your weaving is totally authentic because you've learned the art, and you also do contemporary visual art design. So how do you reconcile your various mode of visual creativity.
میگه که چطوری خیلی زیبا بود کاری که کردی و اینکه چطور تو آرتیست هم میخونی هم میبافی هم کارهای معاصر انجام میدی چجوری همه اینا رو با هم میتونی ادغام و ترکیب کنی.
یه داستان مفصل داره که خیلی خلاصه میگم. از بچگی به فرش و بافندگی نزدیک شدم و به خاطر اینکه تو همسایگی ما بود و بعداً سالهای بعد انتخاب رشته طراحی فرش داشتم، دیزاین، بافت، مرمت، کار رنگرزیش و بعد از اون تحصیلات به خاطر شغل همسرم که کار موزیک بود خب با موزیک خیلی خوب آشنا شدم در کنار همسرم و یه سری پروژه ها رو توی ایران میخوندم و بعد مهدی و توحید با هم فعالیت داشتن کار میکردن.
بگم تا اینجاش. Before I forget. I was growing up in Iran and then I was always exposed to weaving. And then I was very interested, and later I was studying textile design and I was doing reconstruction of monuments. And then I was always interested, and I was in this cross cultural world, and I was always exposed to singing, but never in public. But by the way, one thing I have to say, the first time Maryam sang on stage for public, anyone besides friends and family was behind the loom on stage in Germany, which is like last year. So this is her 4th concert. Yeah. So. And no one could believe when we had the first among the German, all the critics and top, critics were coming to see this project. No one could believe that. They were thinking it's a recorded audio and we were playing it. No one could believe it's Maryam. So later she said she met through Tohid, who is my great friend. We had many projects together. I was talking to Tohid and was searching for a weaver who sings very good. And both of us, we never thought of Maryam. And then one day he said, what about Maryam? I said, all right, Maryam is there. I was searching all around Iran, all the weavers. I was interviewing in the villages, so long, so many people, and then we reached to Maryam.
هیچ وقت نمیدونستم یه زمانی مثلا کار بافتن خونه یک همسایه کار بافت و بعد آشنایی با موزیک منجر میشه به اینکه بتونم توی کنسرت باشم و اولین اجرا رو داشته باشم.
I could never imagine that me being exposed to weaving in my childhood from a neighbor and then later being exposed to music by Tohid and then singing just for myself and in some gatherings would lead to such a project that I would be on stage and singing.
Like you, Mehdi, you also demonstrate your other talent today. You're a wonderful interpreter. So, can we open floor to everybody? If you have, yes, please.
So a question about the harp. I see that other music there's probably use microtone because the singing you can adjust the frequency. For the harp, I wonder, did you tune it to the 12 equal temperament or you use a special tuning?
Yes, I tune according to the microtonal needs of the pieces that we're performing. And you will see me also tune sometimes quietly, putting my ear next to the instrument. So I tune between pieces. It is possible to do it by tuning.
I was wondering how you can tune while other people are playing. It's kind of like very, like no sound when you tune it.
Yeah, when you put the ear exactly on the soundboard, the back of the harp, you can hear it. Yeah, you have to be in touch with the wood. So I hope I didn't make any noise. But it's a little tricky from one piece to another, but a lot of fun. I also play a lot of Turkish music, so microtonal tuning was not new to me. I really enjoy playing traditional music from our geography.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Shirin, you have an ensemble tomorrow. You have a demonstration tomorrow as well.
Yes, I have a performance of Turkish music for harp tomorrow at the Palace Music Academy. It's at 5 o'clock. So I'm going to be playing only Turkish music which I have transcribed, arranged, composed for the harp. So you're welcome.
And one thing I wanted to add, I never perhaps told you also, Shirin. So in Iran, many of the very professional weavers, when they want to see if the tightness of the warp of the loom, you see those white strings, if it's correct, they try to make a sound out of it. So they kind of tune if it has the right stretch, and they listen to it. And if it's too loose, they tune from up, and then it becomes more stretched. So is another thing, yeah.
Goodness, tuning the loom.
Exactly.
Beautiful music. What do you sing about? What are you singing about?
The lyrics, the meaning of the lyrics.
میگه راجع به چی
Yes,
می‌خونی؟
the meaning of the lyrics.
راجبه اشعاری که از توی این پروژه استخراج شده و به صورت موزیک ساخته شده. یه بخشی از اونا همون نقش خوانی هست که پروژه مهدی امینیان هست که از خود اون فیلم استفاده شده برای موزیکش و خب آهنگسازی و بقیه پروژه. خود مهدی بیشتر میتونه راجبش بگه، من فقط ملودی ها رو اجرا کردم و خب ساخته های
So
خودش.
she says part of it's about the songs of the weavers. Part of it are the original poetry. And if you're interested, you should watch the Woven Sound project online. And everything is written on YouTube. You can see all the poetry and the translations. Everything is there. Some are connected to the carpet. Some of them are folklore. Some of them are lullabies. Yeah.
With this music, do people dance?
Uh,
Dun, dun,
I
dun,
can
dun,
answer
dun,
that.
dun. Yes.
This is not really a music that people perform. This is this kind of singings. Before I documented, I couldn't find anything out there like documented, and it's very hard to find because it's in the living room or bedrooms of the weavers. So this is a very intimate thing. They are doing it for different reasons. Because weaving, they are workers. I see them as artists, but many people see them as workers. And they have to sit 10 to 12 hours a day and weave. So this is a part of the singing is for making it easier for themselves. And then there is pattern singing, which they are singing the patterns of the carpet to the other co-weavers. Again, if you search woven sounds, you will get a lot of background information about the project.
Thank you.
Mehdi Aminian, I just want to appreciate all the
Where
performance
are
of the
you?
project. It's me, Behzad here.
Oh, okay.
And in the last part of the video, I saw there was, when you asked the question, how do people see the future of the carpet weaving in Iran? And then I see they were in shock and sad or have some gesture and posture of sadness, and because the future is unknown. So my question is exactly the same. How do you see your project going to have an impact on basically revival, or let's say revitalization of the industry, let's say the handmade carpet in Iran, and then whether anyone, you create a global awareness for the people to come back and then revive these kinds of industry and the people who have the job, and then let it survive for another 100 years. And I think you have a fantastic impact on the global level to see people, to bring people, and even the funding to survive. Because I don't know whether this project give any awareness to Iranian government or those, let's say, Persian carpets museum or Persian carpet organization at all. Maybe they have no budget. But for us, outside Iran, definitely have a positive impact. And I really encourage to continue and supporting you to do this, because it's bring a global awareness, for sure.
Thank you. I think the biggest motivation for this project was exactly these faces that you saw, these uncertain faces, and the people who might work 10 to 12 hours a day and create such beautiful art and one of the highest levels of human creation. And they earn maybe an average 60 euro a month. Such a hard job. So these faces, the conditions and their way of life, it was the biggest motivation. And I think that's the only way if we want to keep this art alive. And the byproduct of that is to also help these weavers. So you can have yourself, just anyone who is around and whoever sees this project, you can think more about it, you can be more aware the next time you see a carpet or a hand-woven carpet. So this is the purpose of this project. We go around and we want to make an awareness, and of course we use this as an inspiration to make a creation, what we enjoy ourselves to be performing it. And regarding the Iranian government, I was telling last night, the best help is that they don't help. So, we know all how is the situation. So sometimes they just were stopping me from filming or saying this you cannot do here or there. But I didn't get any support or any kind of not even major disagreement. So there were some minor ones. But I would say always the government, if they cannot support it like from top down, they better don't help. That's the biggest help. Yeah.
We so often underestimate the productivity of benevolent negligence.
Exactly.
Yeah. Hi. Thank you very much for coming here and bringing us this magnificent show. So, I'd like to know, when I saw the description says the weaver actually when they weave, they sing the pattern of what they are weaving. So I just wonder what does that mean? So is there a name or a certain description of each pattern, so when they sing that particular lyric, then people know, you're weaving that pattern? Or is this a very specific description of the color, the coordination, the size of pattern?
Yeah. So you missed the presentation last night. It was exactly about that. So it's about, so the carpets are usually symmetrical. And back in the time, in the absence of copy machines, the painters had to paint these very complex carpets on the pixelated maps. And every pixel was representing a node. And every carpet has around, I don't know, they might even reach millions of nodes. And in order for the painter to paint these patterns, it would have been very time-consuming to paint all these millions of nodes. So they only did quarter of the carpets. And because carpets are symmetrical, one weaver would sit on the left side and have the patterns in front of her or him, and the other one from the right side. So one of them would look at the map, weave it and sing it, and the other one would do the same, and they reach in the middle. With this technique, it was a lot faster and less time for the painting. Also, in one workshop, they could reproduce 10 copies of the same carpet like simultaneously, and one person would sing. And usually the people who were singing and having good voice, they would have reached a very high social rank in some certain areas of Iran. This tradition is almost vanished. There are some older people still in some areas in Iran still practicing it. And every village has its own style, dialect, and it's like a language. It's like has its own grammar. This culture is a very rich and very complex tradition.
So, as we know, Iran is quite an isolated country, and I was just wondering if maybe once the country opens up a little bit with different initiatives, such as One Belt, One Road, and the different corridors which are being opened right now, once the war passes with Israel, can carpets be revitalized in the global economy as a good that can be marketed again? Is it maybe that the the government doesn't subsidize carpets at the moment because they're not extremely popular on the global market or they don't have enough money? And are there any current cultural programs or sort of a protection of Iranian culture within the Islamic Republic of Iran?
So there are many reasons why the carpet is in this situation. One of them is the policies inside Iran themselves. Another one is just change of the consumers' behaviors. You know how everyone wants now quick and cheap stuff. And the third ones are sanctions. And I came to this understanding over the years that I was thinking, why, okay, you can do sanctions on military, this and that, but why on carpet? I was always asking this question. No, it's not the money. It's because it's not, compared to other things, I mean, it's not such a huge thing. It's because you need to dehumanize certain nations so don't show their beauty to the world. If a nation has a beauty to offer to the world, it's very hard to demonize them and then try to put them in the corner and then no one cares about them and then you can do anything to them. So I think this is part of a bigger, this is my understanding, I might be wrong, but I have a feeling that in order to have next steps of whatever it is, you first need to block whatever beauty is coming out of a country.
Yeah, unfortunately, we have seen that in history again and again and again and again. Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other?
Hello. Sure. Yeah, greeting from Hong Kong. And may I know that are there any interrelationships between the Iranian music and the Caucasian music? Because in last year or maybe in early this year, I watched a Georgian dance performance in Hong Kong. And I noticed that there are some common features among these two kinds of music, or yeah, maybe the genre is pretty similar. So are there any similarities between these two kinds of music?
I say shortly, maybe Shirin wants also to add something. Of course, there are similarities. We are very close to each other. So historically, there were a lot of exchanges, and still up to date, Caucasians, Armenian, Azeri music. They even have, I mean, we borrow names and modes and maqams and instruments. There are a lot of similarities and commonality. So Georgia is one of the countries. There were a lot of Persian presence there in the history, so there is, for sure.
Thank you.
I might just add, for example, that well, what we call Turkish music today, for example, has influences from many places, because under Ottoman rule, musicians were employed in the court in Istanbul, and they brought music and maqams and rhythms from Central Asia, from Caucasia, from Iran. Well, Iran has always been a huge influence over Turks, over the Ottoman intellectual life and also artistic output. So I mean, it is very easy to travel, in a huge geography and find similarities, although you don't speak the language, but you do speak the language of the music. So in that way, I think that Turkish music is quite synthetic. I mean, it's a melting pot, and I would say maybe Iran has also its own influences from from different sources, from Azerbaijan, Armenia, and so music has no limits. So it travels. And it's a pleasure for me. It was an honor to be invited to play in a project which has to do not just with carpets, but also in this sort of pool of music, Iranian music. So immediately when I watched the movie, and Mehdi was very nice to give a spot, I composed 2 tunes. So one of them was Silence. It was just the silence that I felt watching the women. And the other one was Hands. And they kind of fit into this project. So we played them. doesn't matter where, but it was easy to imagine this level of communication.
And one thing to add, roots revival is exactly about that, about when you spot similarities of different cultures. It's very good to know the differences and be aware of them, but everyone is now in our world trying to focus on differences and outstand and take borders and this is me and create identity, but identity can be in relation to the others and the commonalities that we have. So this roots revival, the association, what we do in roots revival is very much focusing on that. Musicians from different backgrounds getting together, trying to find a common language that is researched, but is also very much based on respect and mutual understanding.
Do we have one final question? One final question? There. Well, if we are quick, we can have two final questions then. Can we have two questions asked together before
Together.
Yeah, they can, yeah, and then we can respond.
Okay.
Yeah, I just love Iranian and the Persian cultures because I have traveled twice, deep traveling over there. So I found very interesting with a lot of similarities between Persian and Chinese. So to be short, I just hope one day soon that there will be more arts creation combining, or I would say the fusion of the Persian, Turkish, Arabic, and the Chinese. Because I've seen some of the concerts before with Central Asian, the music, together with Chinese pipa and also guzheng before earlier this year in Hong Kong. So I just hope you guys can create more things and find more similarities between different nations and cultures. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just want curious. Is this carpet on stage from the first performance or rehearsal?
The loom, you mean?
Yes.
It has a long story. Yeah, so it's a special kind of loom that was designed to be able to, so we can fold it and put it in a suitcase, so we bring it to different places. And Maryam weaves it in every concert, and it goes a little bit higher. It might take decades for it to finish. And if it finishes, we are in trouble because we have to go again, find a new loom. So please, Maryam, slow down.
Thank you.
Thanks very much. Thank you. Thank you for a really absolutely beautiful evening, and you have really shown to us that we have much more in common than we are different. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you very much, your wonderful audience. Thank you.